We've got the social engineering toolkit at this point, and I want to walk you through how you would do something like spear phishing. Now, spear phishing is the same idea as phishing, it's just a really targeted approach. So rather than doing something like doing a mass mailing to every email address you can find in hopes of getting something like a credit card information or social security number or something like that. What you're looking for with spear phishing is something very specific to a company that you're targeting, or maybe even an individual that you're targeting. So that's what spear phishing is. And what we're going to do here is inside the social engineering toolkit, I'm going to do a social engineering attack. And you can see it's very menu driven and pretty easy to get through. Now, the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to select one now that we're in social engineering attacks and go into spear phishing attack vectors. So now with spear phishing attack vectors, I can do things like perform a mass email attack or create a file format payload or create a social engineering template. I'm just going to do a very simple mass email attack. I'm going to use the tools that are built into the social engineering toolkit rather than creating my own at this point. So you can see I've got a lot of options for payloads, and this is where some understanding of your target can be helpful so you know what may actually work best here. So what I want to do is I'm actually going to select the Microsoft Word RTF overflow, and that's from a couple of 3 years ago at this point. And I'm going to make use of that. And now this is kind of where we get into the Metasploit aspects of it. So what do you want to do once they've opened up the attachment that you're going to be sending? And I think I want to spawn a command shell on the victim and send back to attacker. So I'm going to get a reverse TCP shell. So once they open it up, it's going to create a shell on their system and then send it back to me. So I'm just going to select one here. And the IP address for the payload listener, it's obviously helpful if you have a system that's exposed to the internet either through a NAT or directly connected. In this case, I'm just playing around on my local network, and so I'm going to set the IP address as the IP address of this particular system. It's asking me the port to connect back on. We use something like 443 because that's often open through firewalls. So now it's generating the format, and I need to create the attachment. So I'm actually going to use a Word document here, and it's going to create a new file for me, and I could rename it if I wanted to. I don't really care. I'm just going to keep the file name, which appears to be moo.pdf in this case. And now what do we want to do? Do we want to do a mass mailer, or do we want to do a single email address? I'm going to do a single email address, and I'm going to do a predefined template. They've already got a bunch of templates that have been created already. So here are the ones. Have you seen this? Status report, Dan Brown's Angels and Demons, new update, how long has it been, baby pics, etc. So there's a lot of different choices for email templates. I'm actually going to go with, whoa, this is crazy. And who am I going to send the email to? Well, I'm going to send it to myself in this case, just to have somebody to send it to. Use a Gmail account for your email attack, or use your own server or Open Relay. So I actually happen to have an SMTP server on my network, and the from address is going to be, and the from name doesn't much matter in this case. Username for the Open Relay is blank, and my server is 30.42.55. Port number for SMTP server is 25. That's pretty standard. Do I want to flag this message as high priority? No, I don't want to flag it as high priority. So we've delivered the emails at this point, and I want to set up a listener. which is going to actually listen for the reverse TCP connection. Now, once you actually pick up the email, then open up the attachment, then it should actually fire a reverse TCP connection back. And in this case, I've actually got some errors inside of Ruby that are causing problems with the listener, but I could also set up a listener using Netcat, for example. So I could do that as well. Now, at this point, the email has gone off. It's got the attachment in it. If the system is vulnerable to the exploit that's in the attachment, then it ought to fire back a shell back to me once I've set up a listener that's actually going to be able to handle it. So that's how you would do like a spear phishing attack.